Thank you so much for joining us. I'm absolutely delighted to have Carmen here with us. She really is a visionary, but in a very, very quiet and unassuming way.
Going back to Venezuela, and I worked with my father to get a training, very intensive training on business. Boring places like accounting, then the factory. There is he have 3,000 employees. And actually was when I moved to the importations and exportation department, where I find out that the importations in Venezuela were going to open. And I say, oh my God, Dad, he didn't allow me to study, to get a scholarship for art. These are the contradictions of my parents. I mean, they didn't allow me to go to Parsons, but then they allowed me to go to University of Miami. And they sent me to my apartment on the beach, in this university where I swear there were Ferrari porches, and I'd be it looked like a country club, you know? I think it's the beginning of myself. I think it was, as a family, my father was Spanish. My mother was Cuban. In Cuba, they stayed without country. My father didn't have any future in Spain after the Civil War. And we were always moving. And I felt so abnormal many times, because I didn't feel that I belonged anywhere.
I think we can safely say that Carmen's early experiences were of instability.
Yes,
and then a military coup, an attempted military coup in Venezuela, when you had your first company.
Completely. I was making my second trip for, I signed Chanel and everything. I was 22. I opened my store and I was a military coup d'etat. And I'd be like, what? There's not been a military coup d'etat for 20 years, 25. And I just had to open the store and there is a military coup d'etat, And as a matter of fact, I was in London buying Clement Ribeiro's.
Oh, yes.
And because I heard that they were launching that line. Actually, it was the second or the third collection that I was doing, the buying collection. He thought that it was a good idea that I pick up on the fact that the importations were going to lower. They went down to 20%. And so he said, well, okay, this is a good deal, but if you never make money out of this company, I will never give you a penny. So I really had to make it happen. A lot of people talk about my success, but I want to tell you that the most empty moments in my life have been when I have been regarded as that I have a success. It's so hollow. The journey is so amazing. And when you fail, it has been, it's the experience. I don't know why people regard it so much as a personal failure. It's the most rewarding experience. I really believe that failure and success are disguise.
Yes.
And behind every failure there can be a success, and behind every success there can be a failure. I started to sell to my friends and friends of friends by pictures. So,
were you sending them emails with pictures?
No, how can I? No, it was DHL with pictures. I needed to develop the pictures, and I do drawings because high definition, hello. Everybody looks very good at pictures back then,
Yes.
It's there was no high definition. And but then you couldn't see the dresses. If it was black, it just was a black, mold, it's just, actually, we even started Net-a-Porter when there was not that high definition on black.
Because what year did Net-a-Porter launch?
In 2000.
So that was very, very, very early days.
Imagine just doing it and click.
Yes.
And buy it. it will be genius. So I started investing in internet in '97, you know, on my curiosity. You have to remember at the beginning we had to put all these descriptions, long descriptions, in order to convince people, because the pictures were not high resolution. So you needed to really explain how was the fitting. So this was 15 years ago, not that far. So it was a lot of talking about fashion. You know, now you just get a picture and it's in Instagram, you just look at it, you fall in love, you buy it.
Ongoing, you know, debates and questions is that a virtual fashion show, you know, doesn't engender the same desire and, I suppose, sense of performance as a real fashion show. And from where I'm sitting, I think that what's interesting is that online has just become another tool.
It is a
tool. But it's not the message. It's the medium, it's not the message.
Exactly.
And the online, in and of itself, it's just one more way to communicate.
And service.
Yes. But it's not the only way. And the fact that you, as an incredibly successful investor, still spend so much time traveling and talking to people, that you're not just making decisions via Skype or email. I mean, that one-to-one conversation is still very important to you as a businesswoman.
I think it's like everything in life. You go to one stream and then you bounce back to the other stream.
If somebody wants to pitch, you know, their new company to you, what would be your advice to a fashion idea?
I have this saying that good ideas never die. There is not such a thing as a bad idea. The most important thing is timing, right leadership. So there is no space for insecurity. That's our biggest enemy. I also think that everybody should recognize how far they can go about their idea. I always say think big, but start small. Also another problem is get the right investors, people that think like you. I will be very careful with who invests in your company.
What advice would you give to a young business about where to find the right investment?
We were talking about balance. I feel that if you start with the right balance in investors, it's a little bit of your friends and family investors. And if you're going to choose a venture capital, don't choose one. Choose at least 3 venture capitals.
Can investors, can venture capitalists make a firm lose their way?
I think a lot of investors, they think they have this theory that teams, they know very well what they're doing. Yes, they do. You know, you are building your team and you basically have less than 2 years to come up with the right team. Because if not, the money doesn't gonna come out. And sometimes you have to say, investor has to make the decision.
You know, creativity finds an audience, and that to me is hugely inspirational. It's what Carmen has done with all her investments, and that's a good moment to end. I want you to join me in thanking Carmen.
And thank you.
Yes.
You make me feel at home. You know,
So